Flying Brian here on the road to Concord, North Carolina to a place called Streetside Classics. They sell and buy all sorts of vintage classic automobiles. Here with my good friend Bill, he's driving, and we're going to go see what it's all about. Come on, shall you? Streetside Classics occupies a somewhat nondescript industrial building on Dorita Road, not far from the Concord Regional Airport. The company's been around since 2008, beginning right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today, they're the #1 classic car dealer in the country. In addition to this location in Charlotte, the company also has locations in Atlanta, Georgia, Dallas, Texas, Tampa, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee, and Phoenix, Arizona. If you're in the market for a classic or antique vehicle, Streetside Classics is definitely a place you're going to want to check out. The minute I walk into the sales office, I am greeted by a beautiful-looking 1970 Ford Torino, sporting this eye-popping Calypso Coral paint job. But the 3 cars here in the office are just the tip of the iceberg. Entering the massive showroom, a late model bright red Corvette greets us, as do perhaps another 100 classic and antique vehicles. Here's a very nice looking 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass. I just found this Chevy Chevelle over here in a whole new section of the showroom. A 1956 Continental Mark II. This was the ultimate in 1956 American luxury cars. Built by Continental, a division of the Ford Motor Company. This is a nicely restored and maintained 1940 Ford Deluxe. This would be one of the last vehicles Ford produced before shutting down the assembly line and switching over to making war goods during the World War II years. Oh my goodness, a Chevrolet Vega. Arguably one of Chevrolet's all-time worst vehicles. I honestly didn't think there were any more of these left. First produced in 1970, these cars were initially very popular and sold quite well. However, between poor build quality, poor engineering, a bad engine, and a questionable safety record, the vehicle fell out of favor. This one being a 1977 model, it was one of the last to be manufactured because 1977 was when Chevy shut down the line. A very nice red 1968 Chevy Chevelle ragtop with a 396 cubic inch V8. The stock engine is capable of pumping out 375 horsepower and more with aftermarket modifications. A couple of Mustangs, and another Chevelle. A 1969 Chevy Camaro SS. This was a super cool car when I started high school, and it too is a ragtop with what looks to be a stock 350 V8 under the hood. Here's a nicely restored and customized 1956 Ford F100, featuring this matte black paint with lime green rims and accents. And plenty of hand-painted pinstripes. Next up is a trio of old Ford Roadster hot rods. The first one being a 1927. This one is a 1923 Ford. And another 1923, which makes these two a century old. Next door are several Volkswagen Beetles. This one being a 1971, which looks mostly stock and needing a little work on the interior. These were very popular vehicles here in America. However, in 1977, when it failed to meet the new safety mandates for new cars, it could no longer be sold in the U.S. This 73 model has a custom bonnet that's reminiscent of the old Fords. And there are 4 of these to choose from. Moving on, I found this vintage Pontiac Bonneville. And from the same early 1960s time era, this is a Ford Galaxy. My dad owned a station wagon version of this vehicle. The paint could use a little bit of TLC, but overall it's still in pretty good condition. Check out the gun sight aiming reticle on the fenders. Definitely helps the driver feel like he's flying a fighter plane. This one is definitely more of an antique. A 1928 Pierce Arrow. This vehicle was manufactured in Buffalo, New York, and born at the height of the roaring 1920s. Very much a luxury car, the Pierce Arrow was a status symbol and was popular with movie stars, industrial tycoons, and even royalty. Inside is the lap of 1920s luxury. Streetside Classics has an amazing selection of vehicles, and I've barely scratched the surface of what's on the floor. This 1956 Chevrolet is perhaps one of the most iconic classic cars. And this one is in beautiful condition. Here's a 1971 yellow Corvette. I personally like the styling of this model, mainly because of this nice chrome bumper, which the Corvette lost forever in 1973 when bumper standards were changed. early model Ford Maverick. I remember seeing these when I was a young man, when they first appeared on the showroom floors back in 1970. Ford priced a basic model of this car for under $2,000. But with a 351 engine, a 4-barrel carburetor, radio, and other options, this vehicle would have come in well above that number. And parked right next door is this fantastic 2010 Maserati Gran Turismo Soft Top. I could spend the rest of the day roaming the showroom floor, and I don't think I could get to every one of these beauties. But it was an absolute pleasure looking at their selection. And with that, I will conclude today's video. Remember, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride, and thanks for watching.